Good afternoon. My name is Ashley Williams, and today I will be presenting the foundations of multicultural education. When we think about the concepts of multicultural education, the first things that should come to mind is basically incorporating students' cultures within the classroom. So that includes incorporating their cultures in the curriculum, instruction, different things around the classroom, whether it be pictures, books, things like that. Some concepts we look at when it comes to multicultural education is culture, diversity, equality, social justice, and democracy. All of these things include treating students with fairness, making sure all students have the same rights and privileges, and that they feel included in the classroom environment. So one of the theorists we'll discuss today is James A. Banks. James A. Banks was considered the father of multicultural education. So one important thing about him was he was one of the first black professors hired by the College of Education at the University of Washington. All right. So James A. Banks was responsible for introducing the five dimensions of multicultural education. As we go through the slides later on, we'll touch base on all five of these dimensions. Another important thing for him was he was the founding director of the Center of Multicultural Education at the University of Washington. That center is now called the Banks Center for Educational Justice. Our next theorist is Genevieve Gay. Genevieve Gay actually started off as a social studies teacher. She is now a Brown professor at the University of Washington, Seattle as well. She teaches multicultural education and general curriculum theory. One of the things she's famous for is the framework of culturally responsive teaching. Again, as we go through the slides later on, we'll see what cultural responsive teaching actually included. Our next multicultural education theorist is Gloria Lanson Billings. So she was actually responsible for the CRP, which is the culturally relevant pedagogy. As we go through the slides later on, again, we'll go through the concepts of the CRP. She actually also introduced the education debt theory, which isn't talked about much. But basically, what that did was it focused on the achievement gap between cultures, things that affect cultures when it comes to educational success. All right, so back to Banks' five dimensions of multicultural education. So the five dimensions he had were content integration, knowledge construction, prejudice reduction, equity, pedagogy, empowering school culture. The basic concept of this theory was to integrate diverse cultures into the perspectives of curriculum. So we wanted to create inclusion and positive attitudes towards diversity inside the classroom. All right, so back to Genevieve Gay's culturally responsive teaching. So basically, what she wanted to do was introduce the importance of validating students' cultural identity. So we can recognize them, but can we actually validate them and include them in instruction in the classroom in order to engage students and enhance their learning experience? So some of those concepts included in the CRT were knowledge base of diverse cultures, culturally relevant curricula, cultural caring and developing a learning community, anti-cultural communications, cultural congruity in the classroom instruction. So we know that different backgrounds may communicate differently. We want to include all of this in our learning experience for our students. Gloria Lanson Billings' culturally relevant pedagogy had three main principles. They were academic achievement, cultural competence, socio-political consciousness. So this meant that teachers needed to acknowledge the things that happen in students' communities that may affect them in their educational environment, as well as they need to acknowledge the role that culture plays in education and their own identities and bias that could affect their instruction in the classroom environment. There are many importances to learning multicultural education theories. One of the main ones for me is to ensure that all students have an equal opportunity to learn in the classroom. So when we're aware of our own biases, our own identity, our own culture, as well as diverse cultures around us, and we validate those cultures, then we create a more safe environment for inclusion in the classroom and students to be more engaged. Also, celebrating diverse cultures also allows these students to go on to learn the importance of respect and diversity in the world.